is up, YouTube with the franchise guy, coming at you again with the minor league futures game for your Philadelphia Phillies. On the mound is Forrest Whitley. You see him? We tried to go after him earlier in the franchise, poke some things around, but he's doing great this year. But see, Nick Prado for the National League Futures side, lead this game off with a really long single. Reason behind that is I was just playing a bunch of Road to the Show before I played this, where you use the thumbstick to manage your bases. Well, I kind of forgot I wasn't playing Road to the Show, and I didn't do that. Adam Hazley right there. I mean, bringing in the second run of the game. Pretty good right there for Hazley. I mean, he's former first round draft pick. I think we've done a pretty good job of stockpiling some very good talent. I mean, Cole Roeder right here, 19 years old, 6 foot, 181, single A, 19 years of age. So he'll probably be up in double A next season when he's 20. But problem with Roeder is we have a stacked outfield. I mean, we have a very stacked outfield in this franchise, especially because we are looking to make this a multiple year franchise. Not saying that we're gonna do like 5 seasons and call it a quits and start with a new franchise. No, I mean like multiple games. So like this is MLB 19 the show, like moving on to 20 the show, 21 the show. Um, Probably like to do around 3 games, 3 years worth of games for this franchise to move on. I feel that'd be a proper way to get a lot of content, a lot of and a good storyline going, a good narrative with all these players. I think I brought up earlier in the series when I wanted my cutoff to be is either when Bryce Harper's contract ended in game or when Braden Halliday was drafted in real life. So those are my two kind of cutoffs right there. Yeah, he was drafted third in his 32nd round to the Toronto Blue Jays, but he will not sign. He will not will not. He is not going to sign. He is committed to college. He will play in college, and that's where he'll be for probably the next 2 to 3 seasons, or 2 to 3 years, if not 4. So he'll probably come out around age 20, 21, 22, and he'll be a fast-growing prospect in that Blue Jays system if they can manage to draft him again. But back on kind of the stacked outfield I have a problem with. So Hazley's 22, I believe. He's young 20s, 23 at the absolute oldest. I think he's 22 though. Hazley's 22. Then we have Kyler Murray. Okay, that's 2 outfielders. Then we have Mickey Moniak, which is a first overall, like the first draft pick of the year before's draft. So that's 2 outfielders right there. I mean, you have Tim Tebow, who's not really a prospect. He's more of just a namesake that you kind of fly your banners around. He's a cheap ticket grab idea. That's all he is. But we have Rotor, we have Moniak, we have Hazley, we have Kyler Murray. I mean, yeah, I mean we sold the players we traded away. We traded away Odubel Herrera. We traded away Aaron Altair. I mean, the reason why we did trade away those players was because of outfield problems. That we had too many outfielders, especially with Nick Williams, Andrew McCutchen, Dylan Cousins. We then signed Seiji Ubiashi, so that's another outfielder right there. But I don't know where we're gonna pull these outfielders. I feel like a lot of them will end up being traded at some point. Um, because I don't have room on a roster for, or it's a 25-man roster for 5 outfielders. If we had a DH, it would be a lot easier because you can move Harper to DH. You can move um, Hoskins to DH. You could play Prado at first. You could play, Harper at DH. You could bring up Roederer. You could bring up Hazley. I don't know. I feel like that being on the National League team is a different challenge in its own, opposed to being an American League team where you do have that extra bat in the lineup where you can kind of have someone who can't really field all that well but hits really well, or doesn't even really hit well, just hits a lot of home runs, have a good Joey Gallo-esque player. because I feel like we are a piece or two short of going all the way. I think our team has good enough to compete this year. I think they're good enough to compete in the fact where they can make a deep playoff run. Do we have the chance to make the World Series? I think so. Am I betting on us winning? I'm not gonna bet on us winning this year. I don't believe this is our year per se. But I do think with Bryce Harper, it gives us a legitimate power threat from the left-hand side, something that we haven't had since Ryan Howard for a franchise mode for the Phillies. But I feel like also we need to work on the top of the order, where we have Gene Segura, but after that we don't really have any more contact hitters. So I feel like we need to add another like just pure contact, bat just to help that 1-2 spot. But moving into the home run derby now, we have Blackman with 36, Haas with 29, Ramirez with 25, Freeman 24, and then you had Nelson Cruz. I forget the rest actually. Chris Davis, Nelson Cruz, those guys. Who are the guys at the end? But Rhys Hoskins batting 234, not having a really good year at all. He's not doing much at the plate. I know when I've played with him, I'm struggling with him too. He's just not having a good year. He's not putting good contact on the ball, and he's not doing stuff with players on base. He's only seemed to hit home runs. As you see right there, most of his RBIs come from home runs. He's got 65 RBIs, and 20 of them come from just himself. So I feel like he's in a Michael Saunders situation where he's kind of just tying off what he's done RBI wise with himself, that he's half of his RBI total. I mean, a little less than half. 29's a little less than half of 65, but it's up there. We're attempting to at least. But home run derby, Hoskins made it to what, the semifinals last year. He went up against Kyle Schwarber and lost by a walk-off home run. Could have gone up against Harper if he had like 2 more home runs in the semifinals, but didn't play out that way, unfortunately. Bit really disappointing when you think about it. That I don't know. I feel like Hoskins at the same time though had a massive cold streak last year where he didn't even have a bunch of home runs going into the All-Star break. He only had like 11 home runs, but I feel like a lot of them were moonshots, and that's why kind of Bryce Harper picked him to be in the Derby. And then right after the home run Derby, he came out and hit a span of like 5 or 6 games where he just hit a home run every game. So I think that's like for 5 to 7 games, he just hit a home run, and that kind of brought him back up to like a very respectable 20. He ended up with like 34. So I know he finished a lot stronger than he started, which probably helps him out a lot. He's a really big fan favorite in Philly. I'm a big fan of his. I think that he's definitely going to be our long-term first baseman for the series. That I won't put too much money on us drafting first baseman, especially since we do have Nick Prado in the minors. Kind of the reason why I traded for Nick Prado, not just to clear salary cap with Cesar Hernandez and just give Scott Kingery a legitimate starting spot, but the fact that if Rhys Hoskins goes down, we don't have a first baseman. Sure, we have Maikel Franco, Alec Baum. Technically, secondary position is first base. I could technically put Phil Gosselin at first. Um, we could trade for players. I've seen David Bodie on the trade block before, where he himself is a super utility player where he can play every position. So I feel like we have players that, or we could trade for players like that can play first base. Jay Bruce has come to mind more recently on platooning him either in left field or not first base. I won't platoon Jerry Bruce in the infield. Probably platoon him in like left field with Nick Williams. But he's doing his best though. He's living his best life. Rhys Hoskins is only hitting 11 home runs. Does not surpass Chris Davis. I think he had 12 home runs or 13 home runs. He had 2 more to tie or 2 more to win it. 1 to tie, 2 to win. So never fun when you lose back to back years. But Jose Ramirez ends up the winner of the home run derby. And you're gonna look at this and be a little upset that Hoskins had to go against someone who hit 13 home runs or 12 home runs in the first round. Look at that. 8 home runs to win round one, 11 to win round two, and 9 to win round three. Rhys Hoskins set the record for most home runs in a round, I think, with 20, something like that. Whereas, like, I don't know, he hit 20 home runs in a round as some sort of record. But take on the actual All Star game right now. We have a couple All Stars. Uh, no, Aaron Nola, I want to get this out of the way first. Aaron Nola was set to be back to back All Star. Thing is, going into this, he suffered a minor injury. Listed as day to day, I thought he would still be on the roster. He is not, so he does not actually make the All Star team because of that injury. If he did, he would have been the starter. Unfortunate, yes, but it happens. You see right there, Bryce Harper is the DH for the National League. Masahiro Tanaka is the starter for the American League, opposed to Patrick Corbin for the National League. So fun little game right here. I thought, I don't see many people do the All Star game, especially the minor league All Star games. But I think since we are doing a longer running series, we do have the time and the episodes to do these fun little in between games that aren't really moving the season along at record speed. They're taking the time. I think we spent what 3 episodes, or yeah, we spent 3 episodes in the first month of the season. So we spent opening. We had opening day, Bryce Harper returning back to Washington, and we had JT going back to Miami. So that right there, that's a pretty slow start, don't you think? I think upload schedule wise too. Not the best for a fast running offense or fast running series, but Bryce Harper had 294, 21 home runs, and 52 RBIs with 5 stolen bases. I mean, that huge signing with the Phillies, and people say 330 million, overpaying him. But when you gotta think about it, when you break down how much he's making per year, he's making 13 million his first year. Okay, that's not bad. You can't say Bryce Harper's not worth $13 million a season. I mean, of course, everyone's gonna say, well, no base player is worth 13 million. Baseball salary wise, Bryce Harper is definitely worth 13 million though. I mean, if they're paying Andrew McCutchen what 15 million a year, they sign him to a 3-year, $45 million deal, 3-year, almost 60, something around that. But if they're signing Andrew McCutchen to a long-term, high contract deal, but they're paying Bryce Harper's first year 13 million, Bryce Harper's worth 13 million, 10 times that 10. Then it inflates to what I think it's 26 million. It's 24 million for the next 4 years and 26 million for the next 5 years. That's 10 years right there, and it goes back down to 23 million. So if you're overpaying a 36-year-old Bryce Harper 23 million, but the Phillies have won a World Series somewhere in this next 13 years, the Phillies fans will not care how much money you're spending on Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper will be booed, he will be loved, he will be hated by Philly fans. But the only thing that matters is he won a World Series with his team. It's the only thing that's gonna matter. That contract is instantly worth it as soon as they win a World Series. And unpopular take right here, I think Gabe Kapler can do it as the manager. I'm not sure if I've said it, but I am sticking with Gabe Kapler as my manager in this series. I mean, unless I'm gonna get a legitimate, I don't know, I guess not a legitimate manager, but a very high quality manager. I don't see why I wouldn't need why Gabe Kapler would have to be replaced. Um, sure, the pitching coach, the bench coach, first, third base coach, farm director, they can all be replaced fine. But Gabe Kapler is the manager for this series, hands down. Like unless he retires, he is the manager. I mean, I know I've had a lot of problems in what is it? My career for Madden, where I've had 2 managers retire on me. I mean, I've had Doug Pearson retired on me. Then the guy who replaced Doug Pearson retired. So now we're on our third head coach in our series so far. I mean, pain in the butt when you think about it. When you get down to the nitty gritty, it's a pain in the butt. Really is that I don't know, but I do think Brett Brown too and Gabe Kapler are deserving of managerial jobs. Did they both make mistakes? Yeah. So did Charlie Manuel. People hated Charlie Manuel when he first came to Philadelphia. They didn't like him because he wasn't a polished manager. They didn't like him because he wasn't not Bobby Valentine, Jim Leland. They wanted Jim Leland, but they got Charlie Manuel instead. They hated that he wasn't the greatest on the speaking front. He's spoken a lot of stories, a lot of riddles. Never really had a bunch of straight answers to questions. Kind of beat around the bush a lot when it comes to talking. Kind of talked with a bit of an accent too. Just not very Philly like the way he talked, and Phillies fans hated that. But guess what? He's the most loved manager in Philly history because he won a World Series. But I feel like if Gabe Pepper were to do something like that, he would instantly become less hated. But any manager would be less hated if they won a World Series. But if you guys enjoy this episode, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. It does mean a lot to me. It shows that I'm doing a good job in this series. It shows that you guys are enjoying this series. Stay tuned for the All-Star weekend. I'm going to have a big thing planned for MLB The Show 19. Spoiler, I may or may not be uploading an episode of Franchise Mode and my career every day that week. Just saying, don't let anyone know it's a spoiler. It's a leak spoiler, so don't tell anyone. But peace out, rock on YouTube, stay classy, have a great day. I'll catch you next time on the next episode of Phillies Franchise Mode.